Do you go by Dan or Daniel?
I go by Daniel.
Okay, Daniel then. I apologize.
Pardon me if I'm wrong again, but I think that we're getting way too descriptive because can't I be a Florida resident and travel across any border I want to? Therefore, shouldn't I have the right per our Constitution? Shouldn't I have the right to travel and migrate across any border but still be a Florida resident?
Yeah, I think the concern here is traditionally the LPF platform has dealt only with state issues, and we've deferred to the national platform on national issues.
This is a state issue, though. That's
Oh, I understand. Yeah, it's obviously an issue that you know, it carries over both. But being that immigration constitutionally is handled by the federal government, not state government, I think that's where some of the
but the thing is also is though, if the police pick up Cuban refugees in 10 miles off our shores, where do they go? What do? They get turned into the federal government.
Right.
So, I mean, they're going to rescue these people off their sinking rafts, and then where are they eventually going to go? They're going to go to the detention center, and they're going to get shipped back. And that's not right. So, local, police, Monroe County Sheriff, and I'm sure there's in Miami as well. I'm sure Miami police, if they see somebody floating and they're out there enforcing it, they have boats. These local police departments have boats. That's a fact. So if they pick up a Cuban refugee, where are they eventually going to go? They're going to go into federal court. So I think that's an important point to make.
Okay, I'm going to go in order of the hands I saw raised. I saw Danielle first.
I think you kind of proved my point. This is really something that should be handled on the national level because at this point, we've always kept our platform to things that our Florida government handles, and they don't handle this whatsoever. And I think this would be a great thing to bring up to Lynn or Tom Rose to address at the national level. But I think we're adding in things to our state platform that our state government doesn't have any authority over.
Okay, David, you recognize?
Well, kind of to go with Mike on this one is that according to the Constitution, that those things not specifically given to the federal government are state issues. We are a sovereign state. And so, yes, even our borders are our sovereign responsibility, which would include the airports, not just people being rescued offshore, but people coming into our airports from other countries as well. So I would say it is still a Florida issue, even if the national wants to take care of it for other states, but Florida still has its own borders and it's a sovereign state.
Okay. I saw Alex next, then Pete. Alex, you recognize?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I went to the national site and I want to read their platform on it, and I want to see if everyone thinks that what we're trying to put together right now is actually in line with the national platform, because I would say that if you look at some of the wording, it's actually not. We support the removal of government impediments to free trade, political freedom, and escape from tyranny. Demand that individuals not be unreasonably constricted or constrained by government in the crossing of political boundaries. Economic freedom demands the unrestricted movement of human as well as financial capital across national borders. However, we support control over the entry into our country of foreign nations who pose a credible threat to security, health, or property. So if this is passed, then technically it sounds to me, and again, I'm asking the group here, does that go against the national platform?
It could be interpreted to do so. And part of the LPF charter, for lack of a better term, is that we adopt the national platform for national issues.
I got a follow-up.
So this could be very well, I'm answering your question, Alex. This could be construed as potentially being in conflict with the national platform, and you're re-recognized.
But if that is the case and that is the intent, which is not necessarily a bad intent,
Right.
wouldn't the proper course of action that we have is to go to the people that are going to do the national platform and have them change the national platform? Is that the proper course in which we should go about doing this.
It is the opinion of the chair that that is the proper course. And Pete, did you want?
I have to respectfully disagree.
Hang on a second, Mike. You obviously will get a chance to speak to this motion since it is your motion, but I want to get through some of the other people that had points or questions.
Yeah, I want to thank Alex for bringing up the national platform, because I was going to talk about the same thing too. I would like to say, if we are going to do a platform change, which is in controversy, if it's something the national platform already has and we're against it, then that is something that needs to be addressed, as opposed to being in agreement with it and just saying we're in agreement again. I would like to throw out, though, that this particular topic, immigration, because I was thinking about doing a platform edition. I did propose it for a little while, and I brought it back, and I realized it takes a lot of thought, just trying to come up with an immigration policy and say, all right, this is it. There's nothing written in front of me from you. There's nothing written from anybody. It wasn't proposed. We're not getting into all the pluses and minuses of it. We're not thinking about the economic impacts, which will affect people, and you have to consider that if you're a responsible party. It's a disservice to handle this particular topic so quickly in the afternoon of a Sunday at the convention. It would be better if there was preparation and there's consensus. If it's a valid point, it'll last with time. And it needs to be prepared, and it needs to be groomed. You can't just come out and go ahead and change certain things that quickly. It's not that obvious, and it causes us difficulty. It doesn't cause anybody else difficulty. It gives us problems.
Please, you recognize?
I have a point of order.
Okay.
A vote of 2/3 of the general membership shall be required before the LPF will not actively support the national platform. 2/3 of the general membership, not the delegates convention.
General membership. Oh,
Right.
good catch. Good catch.
Point of order.
So, yeah, this would, the point of order is that it requires, per our governing documents, 2/3 vote of the
General membership.
general membership, as opposed to the delegates, to not support a national platform plan. Essentially, this would be not supporting a national platform plan. So, Mike, I'll go ahead and recognize you.
But I mean, I think that this is very clear in line with the national platform already. I mean, as it reads, we support unrestricted free migration of all individuals across all foreign borders and coastlines.
But the national platform.
This is a state issue. This is a state issue, or this is directed towards the state of Florida.
But Mike, I would say that the national platform agrees with that primarily, but does give the caveat of, with the exception of people who want to do harm. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not a huge difference. I mean,
It's a significant difference, I would say. Yeah. All right, Jared, I think I saw you next, and then Daniel, you'll be up.
Point of information, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what time are we scheduled to adjourn this meeting?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait a second. 11:30? And it is 11:09. So, okay, yeah. All right, Curtis, I'm sorry. I saw your hand up before, but I wasn't sure. Do you have something to say?
Well, I would certainly say that I agree that this is definitely contradictory to the national platform, and therefore that 2/3 of the general membership, I think, applies here.
Okay. All right, Daniel, you recognize?
I think that I might have somewhat of an issue with how the national platform is worded. I need to read it again, but I would think in this case, shouldn't the, because power is not delegated to the federal government or deferred to the states or more closely to the people, should this not be brought up to the national platform to create more of a constitutional change in the national platform to state that we believe it is the state's responsibility to govern their own borders? At that point in time, could we not then write our own amendment to the Constitution per immigration as we believe Florida should best handle it?
I think under those circumstances, it would be. Hang on a second. He was addressing the chair, Mike. Hang on a second. I'll recognize you again. I think under the Mike, just a second. Order, please. I think under those circumstances, that would be the appropriate course of action if the national, accepted that platform plank. Or the other course of action would be to have our delegates to the platform committee to national present that. So.
And if I could say one more thing, because I heard you briefly, it might take 1,000 years, as you said, but our original Constitution is set up so that changes are supposed to take a long time because they are important if it takes that amount of time, that is the process we have set up, that is how it should be addressed.
Okay, Mike, you're recognized.
I would just like to, I'd like to vote on this and just get this over with for the sake of time. So if anybody else wants to speak.
Okay, so that's
I
a,
think I've made,
so it's a call to question.
yeah.
Call the question, second, call the question.
No.
Okay. Jared seconds. All in favor, call the question, voice vote. Please say aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, call the question, if we have opposition, no, it's 2/3 on call the question, so yeah, that was definitely 2/3. All right, the question has been called. At this time, all in favor of the platform addition on immigration as proposed by Mike Kane, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion fails. All right. Further motions from the floor? Alex, you're recognized.
I have a question to ask first. Is it
Point of
possible-
information then?
Point of information.
Okay.
Is it possible to take what Mike Kane has asked for and commit that to the executive committee to draft the documents as our suggestion for Vicky and
Absolutely.
and Lynn to take to the platform committee?
Absolutely. Would you like to make a motion to commit Mike's proposal to the executive committee?
I propose to commit Mike's proposal to the executive committee.
Second.
Dana seconds? Okay. All right, floor is open for discussion for commit to EC. Having heard none, the question is called. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, so the motion will be heard by the executive committee as a proposed amendment by our delegates to the National Platform Committee.
One other
Alex, you're recognized for a point of information.
point of information. Just like we did with the education one, would we have the person that brought this up to begin with be the person?
Well, he's a member of the EC anyway,
Oh,
so.
you're a member of the
Yeah,
okay, so there you go.
yeah. He can make the motion, he can speak to it, so.
Okay.
All right, further motions from the floor. Vicky, you're recognized.
This clarification, we'll say again that we have two members of the National Platform Committee.
Yeah, Tom Rose and Lynn House. We've repeated that a couple times.
The Platform Committee has nothing to do with the Platform Committee. That's an autonomous committee.
Yeah, all right. I think that was clear to everyone. Yeah. All right, further motions from the floor? Okay. Madam Secretary, do we have any further business?
I think we've kind of lumped all three items together.
EC photos.
So, committee assignments?
Yes, we are on committee assignments. Now, Madam Secretary, can you advise us of the committees that could use some help?
I can, and if you'll just give me a second.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to go slightly out of order here. And we do have a period for delegate comments. So if anyone would just like to make a general comment, the floor is now open. Please ask to be recognized. Alex, you're recognized.
Before you leave today, if everybody could get everybody that's left here, if you could make sure that you get a picture in front of the screen, so we can use that for uniformity for the state website and also for your county websites. And also, if you look outside this door to your right, there is a table that has some boxes on it that has LPF literature that is available for all of you to grab. I hope that we have none of it, so we don't have to bring any of it back. There's two different types of literature, so please use that. But I only ask you to do this. Don't use it to put it in a closet somewhere. Use it to give somebody that's not a libertarian.
And the same is true for any Wiley for Governor material. You want to take a stack of stuff, please do.
Self-promoting.
Steve, you're recognized.
Like I said, we did pass the amendment yesterday, removing people from, the party, and in the 1 year we made a bunch of changes. The one issue I had with it was simply this idea that it's up to the discretion of the executive committee to decide, it's a subjective judgment made on whether or not the non-aggression principle has been violated. And I would ask the EC and others here, maybe for next year's convention or whatever, so let's try to define that so we know exactly what that means. Look, I know there are bad people in this party at times, and they need to be removed. I'm not contesting that at all. I'm simply saying that we need to have the ground rules specifically stated that what are the reasons why. Law, as you know, or most people know, has to be exact and succinct. I'd like this particular thing to be very, very well defined before, anybody takes this kind of action. And I just wanted to say to the EC and anybody else here to keep that in mind, and maybe somebody can put a motion forward to, at some point, to define that term. Thank you.
Okay. Noted, Steve. And I think that I think we have to have some degree of faith in the conscience of our elected executive committee members, and I do have a great deal of faith, and I think that, given the fact that it takes a very strong supermajority to do anything, I'm confident that the EC will make the right decision if that time ever arises. Jared, were you asking directly?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback on what Alex mentioned. There's other materials out there as well from the Foundation for Economic Education. There's a stack of iPencil pamphlets, as well as the top 8 myths of the Great Depression. So feel free, there's boxes of it over there. So just take stacks, to bring it to your affiliate, hand it out at meetings. But if you want it and you'll put it to good use, please take it. There's a ton of it. Thank you.
One last call.
Check out my
Well,
we got what, 45 minutes? We'll leave here before that. I don't know what's going on. I'm physically going to leave. I'm not going to take 25 plus
Oh, I'm sorry. We were trying to get the committee vacancies we need filled. Dana, you recognize.
I just want to say, of all the members of the EC that are here, the new EC are here after the adjournment of this meeting, can you please come over here so we have a quick meeting and set the time for the next meeting before we leave? That'd be awesome.
do what I can. I'm going to get the luggage to have the meeting about the meeting.
Okay, sure.
Check out
All right. All right. Any further comments from the floor? Yes, Abigail, you recognize.
I just wanted to thank the Collier LP, Jared, Alpha, Peter, your sister, Joe. It was great. You put on a fantastic convention. We appreciate it. We're very happy to co-sponsor. And I have a sign-up sheet if anybody would like to speak in Miami-Dade. We meet on the second Tuesday of every month. We are going to have our first female speaker, Stephanie Kinzel. She's a blogger. We love accountants, lawyers, anybody running for office. We'd love to have you come speak. We hope to have Norman Brayman from Miami, who's a big activist, in the fall. So look for that on our website. Sign up for our email list. And thank you all for your support on the platform change and the resolution drafts. Please either send your ideas directly to the EC or to me. I would really appreciate your support on all that. Thank you.
And I'd like to reiterate the thanks to the Collier County LP and to Sasha Maswell. Excellent job, guys. Excellent. All right. Further comments from the floor? Pete?
Yeah, quick comment. I have to say this is one of the smoothest running conventions I've ever been to, and I've been going to quite a few. So I'd like to add one other thing for all the delegates to think about perhaps for next year. There is a running subcurrent underneath everything that we're doing here, and it really bothers me. We are being legislated into ineffectiveness. We're being legislated into corners that we don't want to be in as libertarians. Examples, 103.095. In case that our opposition, Republicans and Democrats, they can get their representatives on the ballot in front of the entire public, whereas we have it at conventions, so we have to do it locally in obscurity. There are, I wouldn't exaggerate if I said there are probably a dozen laws on the books that specifically discriminate against third parties and against free associations of people just like this to go ahead and get their views across. And I really think as a party we need to start talking about it, because we're already doing things we hate to do, and yet we're being forced to do it by the government, and that's so inherently wrong. It leads to the propagation of evil things, and it needs to be stopped. So
Yes.
there are a dozen different ways to approach that problem, but I just throw it out to you. Let's think about that for next year's convention, perhaps get some definitive action going, because that is what's really a threat to us as a party. Eventually it's going to come.
Here, here. Yes, Chuck.
I'd like to thank Adrian for his service as chair.
Thank you. On that note, I just want to say it has been an absolute honor and privilege, and occasionally a pain in the ass. But I've been very happy to serve, and I hope that the promises I've made I've kept, and the goals that I've set that I've achieved in the past 2 years. But thank you very much. Really, guys. I appreciate it. All right, let's move on to committee appointments. At this time, we do have kind of a, we're not going to call it a vacancy, but we would like to have an alternate non-EC member for the Rules Committee. So is there anyone that's interested in serving on the Rules Committee as an alternate, kind of an observer, non-voting, just in case there's a position open? Anyone interested in serving in that capacity?
Oh, Rules Committee is so much fun.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
When do they meet?
Well, actually, Rules Committee is one of the ones that really started utilizing Facebook. So, Charles, are you interested? Okay, very good. Charles, you are hereby appointed as alternate to the Rules Committee.
I don't just do
The next committee that we could use some additional help on is the Selection Committee, and as we talked about yesterday, and we changed the bylaws, the Selection Committee is the former Nominating Committee. It's the committee that deals with the vetting of candidates, the questionnaires, the evaluation. They hold a vote to determine whether that candidate should be presented to the EC for approval or not. So anyone interested in serving on that committee? No, apparently not. No appointments there. All right, Dana, that's something you're probably going to have to work on. We do need to get some more people in there. Platform Committee. I bet there's some people that would like to serve on the Platform Committee. A lot of talk about the platform today, so who's interested? Lee, are you standing? Or are you just grooming Pete?
Grooming Pete.
Okay.
Instructions on function of the platform.
The function of the Platform Committee is to actually discuss and draw up proposals for changes to the platform that are made at the convention each year. So, like for example, we were having a lot of conversations about the platform here today, and yesterday we passed the new platform plank on privacy. That is the duty of the Platform Committee. It's to make those proposals, and members of the LPF make suggestions to the State Platform Committee for those proposals to the delegation. Yes, Dana?
I mean, I would like to please request Ben McCain to join that committee.
I'm on.
Oh, you are? Okay, great.
You're currently on platform? Okay. So I guess
Mr. Chair, what were the restrictions on being a platform committee? If you're
there are none whatsoever. You can be an EC member or just a general member, either way. Yeah. Jared? Okay. Jared, you are hereby appointed. Welcome aboard. Anyone else? Pete? All right. Pete, you are appointed as well. All right. That's good. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one needed some help. All right, the next one is the Communications Committee. Now, the role of the Communications Committee is, it's a big committee with a lot of responsibility, and even though we've got a bunch of people on it now, we still need more help. The Communications Committee handles our website, our communication, our press releases, all our interactions on social media. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there. Now we've got, what do we got, about 10, 12 people on that committee already? It can always use more because there is a ton of work that committee does. That's an important one. So if anyone's interested in working in social media, writing, press releases, anything on our website, anything on managing our CRM system, they handle that as well. Please let me know. They could use some additional help always. None of you IT geeks are interested in communications? Oh, okay, great, great. And I'm sorry, it's Amanda, correct? Okay, Amanda would like to. Anyone else? All right, well, welcome, Amanda. Thank you. All right, the next committee we have vacancies on is for those of you who, instead of curling up next to a warm fire with a nice novel, you sit there like I do occasionally with pieces of legislation. We have a need for more people on the Legislative Review Committee, and the objective of the Legislative Review Committee is to review legislation coming out of Tallahassee, also to make recommendations for legislation that we draft and try to get sponsored. And they work closely with our lobbyists. It's a very synergistic relationship where we're advising John Hallman and Paul Henry, you know, hey, let's work on this, let's fight this. And so it's a very important committee, but it's a lot of, if you have a background in law, that does help a lot, or if you're very good at reading between the lines and in that sort of documentation, it's a good position to be on. So Vicki, are you volunteering for that committee?
I'm not volunteering, no, but if Don Sheldon is not on that committee, I'd like to recommend him.
Don, would you like to serve?
Thank you, yes.
Oh, okay, very good.
He's already on the.
Oh, you're already on the committee. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Curtis.
I'm not a lawyer, but hey, I'll be willing to.
All right, Curtis, you are appointed. Welcome. Anyone else for legislative review? Okay, let's move on to finance. Now, finance is a committee that is kind of atrophied of late, and it's something that our new treasurer, Danielle, is looking to reactivate and turn into a really strong committee. Yes, Dana?
Point of information, I'm going to have, under the finance committee, we're going to have a fundraising team and a marketing team under the finance committee.
Okay, okay, good.
Anyone interested in the marketing or fundraising aspect should join the finance committee.
Okay, all right. So the scope of the Finance Committee is going to be expanded. One of the functions of the Finance Committee is to serve as an oversight committee of the Treasurer. Another function is fundraising, and now an additional function will be marketing, I assume for our fundraising activities? Okay, okay. So that's a good committee if you especially have a background in fundraising, finance, anything like that. So, Daniel, are you interested?
Yes.
Okay, Daniel? And Dale?
Well, I was on the finance committee before, so.
You still are.
You still are.
Okay, yeah. So the existing members are on the committee?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Steve?
I have to object to the idea of having fundraising under finance. You're trying to make salespeople out of finance people. That's like mixing oil with water. That's just a very bad idea.
Well, I'm sorry, forgive me, your name again?
Michael.
Michael, you recognize.
Fundraising, please.
Okay, Michael's added to fundraising?
On the finance committee, there's going to be 2 teams. So just because you can be on the finance committee will be split into all other teams. The teams will be the fundraising and the marketing, and then overall will be the finance.
And I'd like to remind everyone that the chair has the authority to create ad hoc committees. So if Dana deems that it's better to separate, as Steve was suggesting, separate out fundraising, that can certainly be done.
Well, the reason that I want to do it like this right now is because I think that those are 3 committees that need to be in communication with each other at all times, because it's involving money and fundraising and marketing, they all kind of need to be on the same page.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also a thing called controls where you separate responsibilities that are not under one person's responsibility. This is just good accounting controls, internal controls, and this is not a good idea at all.
We'll see.
Okay, noted. All right, anyone else like to serve on the Finance Committee? All right, well, appointees, welcome aboard, and I hope that that committee...
Somebody that said they wanted to that is in here right now, Christopher Slaughter.
Okay, all right, Christopher on there as well?
Well, I think we'll have to put him on an EC meeting. I don't think we can.
Oh, we can't appoint in absentia?
No, because he's not here to say it, so we have to.
Oh, that's true, yeah, he could decline, obviously. All right, so Dana, if you want to make that appointment after today. All right. And the next committee is activism. We have an activism committee that is woefully understaffed, and I think we need to start kicking it in gear. In fact, I was speaking with the chair of the activism committee, Steve Carithers, and he wants to do an event in support of Mark Schmitter's release in Orlando. And I think that's a great idea. Just a second. I think that's a great idea, and I think we need to start doing more of these type of things. So I encourage everyone to get involved with the activism committee, especially for even that upcoming thing alone. We need to get that planned. Vicki, you recognize?
I'd like to volunteer, and I'm a friend of Mark Schmitter.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Okay, so Vicki on the activism committee. Anyone else?
I'd like to do it.
Don? Don, your point. Any further interest in the activism committee? No, okay. Thank you, Vicki. Don? All right, and the final committee we need staffing for is the candidate committee. And the candidate committee is the one, as we discussed yesterday, works in tandem with the selection committee. Their job is to, on the front end, recruit candidates, get them over to the selection committee, and once the candidates are approved by the EC, to provide them with training, support, advice in how to run an effective campaign and actually win elections. So it's a very, very important role, especially as we come into a election year in 2014. Now's the time to get that committee staffed, get that committee ready to go, get that committee ready to provide the support structure for our candidates. Excuse me. So who would be interested in serving on the candidates committee? Mike Kane, you're appointed?
He's already.
Oh, you're already on there.
He was put on the last EC meeting.
Okay, gotcha. Anyone else? Come on, guys. Supporting our candidates is one of the most important things we can do. We need you. I'm putting the pressure on you. Stand up. All right, Dana, your job. How many people do we have on the candidates committee? It's fairly well staffed, but we could use a lot more.
3, 6, 9, 12.
12 members currently?
Yeah.
Okay.
11.
11? Okay. All right. So that concludes the committee appointments, and I don't believe we have any other business. Can you confirm?
No, that's it.
Okay. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Lee moves to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Who seconded? All right, Ray seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned. Great job, everyone.